In rhythm games, you play a game to the beat of a song, just like it sounds, with popular ones being games like Osu, Dance Dance Revolution, Friday Night Funkin', and Just Dance, among many others. I'm going to be picking 3 rhythm games that I've played recently and review each one. The ones that I'm picking are Geometry Dash, made by Rob Top, Dance of Fire and Ice, made by 7th Beat Games, and Musynx, made by Zodiac Interactives. I'll first start with Geometry Dash. This game is one that most people have probably at least heard of. It's a simple one-button rhythm game, meaning that all actions are controlled by a single button. This game gained massive popularity starting in around 2014 to 2015 and reached a peak in around 2017, where it slowly became less and less mainstream, although never really fading into obscurity fully. This is shown by Google Trends results on the game. In this game, you control a square by clicking the jump. There are also other vehicles, so to speak, that move differently, but they are also controlled by clicking a button. And you can switch between these vehicles by going through certain portals. These portals have different effects depending on which portal you're going through, and they change depending on each level. The level could reverse, you could switch gravity, you could have to control a clone of yourself, etc, etc. This game focuses a little more on the platforming aspect, a little more than it focuses on the rhythm aspect, so while the level formats generally follow a song, sometimes it doesn't really feel like you're actually clicking to a beat. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely feels less immersive than I would have liked. This game is split into levels. Each level has a song, and when you die you have to start over. You can retry as many times as you like with no penalty, but if you want to get better at certain sections, there's a practice mode for each level, so you can restart at checkpoints when you die. As you play these levels, you get rewarded constantly for just getting better, even if you aren't necessarily beating them. You unlock different forms of currency and other rewards for not only beating levels, but for just doing better than you did before. This is really good for encouraging players to keep playing and getting better. These currencies can unlock different cosmetics and rewards, and in certain game modes, beating levels unlocks more levels to play. Speaking of game modes, there is a plethora of game modes. Although the specific levels in these other modes aren't really anything special, they're basically the same as the regular modes. They present them to you in different ways and give you different rewards for beating them, so there's always a game mode for everyone. There are also achievements and hidden secrets for those who love that game and want to do everything. All of these different features, along with the level creator and online mode allowing you to play anyone's levels, allows for infinite replayability, even after you've done everything. While I commend this game for the amount of content it packs into this relatively simple, arguably repetitive game loop, sometimes I feel like there is too much to do. What I mean by that is that sometimes if you get impatient with the level, instead of the game encouraging you to keep trying, it is easy to get distracted by the many other game modes, and you just end up trying a new level with the cycle repeating over and over again. Overall though, this game is incredibly addictive and fun, and with the amount of content for the price, you definitely get the bang for your buck. While I can see some people getting bored or overwhelmed quickly by the amount of stuff to do, those persistent enough will find hours of fun with this game. Next up is A Dance of Fire and Ice. This game is a much smaller game that I doubt most people have heard of. I for one didn't know of it until a friend recommended it to me. This game is another simple one-button rhythm game just like Geometry Dash. You control 2 orbs floating around each other, and you click whenever one lands on a tile. This allows you to move forward through each level. Unlike Geometry Dash, this game relies entirely on knowing the beat of the song. I like this personally because for me, it definitely feels more immersive, like I'm really playing to the beat of the songs. This game does a good job preparing you for the different mechanics of each level, as there are tutorial levels before each stage that prep you on the new mechanics it's going to show. Some of these levels can be very frustrating though, as for the most part you need to be perfect with your timing, so one tiny mistake can cause you to lose. Even worse than that is that these levels are long, and the majority do not have checkpoints, and the ones that do have them in the very beginning. This means that one tiny mistake at the end can cause you to start this entire song over from the beginning, which can be very rage-inducing. Now everyone will dislike this, mind you. I just personally found it frustrating and thought that the game could be a little bit more lenient. There is also a good amount of levels, with more occasionally being added for free as bonus levels. This makes it fun to come back to the game every once in a while to see what is new. Other than achievements though, there isn't a whole lot of extra stuff to do. Once you beat the main levels, there isn't a lot of motivation to try bonus levels either, and you can end up getting bored quickly with no real goal to work towards. Luckily though, the gameplay loop is still very addictive, so it is a blast getting through the main game, and many will still be compelled to do everything if they enjoyed it enough. There is also a level creator that is fun to mess around with tons of options and the ability to upload any MP3 file you want. And while there is a Steam workshop where you can find online levels, it is hardly used, so it is difficult to find good levels, and the ones that you do find are usually ridiculously difficult. I really enjoy this easy to learn, hard to master game. There's a decent amount of stuff to do, and the basic game loop is very compelling. Along with Geometry Dash though, the simple one-button control scheme can turn people off as they may get bored easily. I would still recommend this game though. I had a really good time for what I played, and I know that if you like rhythm games, you'll definitely have a good time with it as well. Last but definitely not least is Musynx. This game is similar to many classic rhythm games where you are hitting tiles as they come down the screen. This is similar to GarageBand and DDR along with, like I said, many other classic arcade rhythm games. While this game relies on you timing your presses to the beat of the song, it sometimes changes what parts of the song you are playing to. For example, sometimes you are tapping to the lyrics of the song, sometimes to the drums, others to the guitar, with it switching between them mid-song. This can be fun and add some variety, but there is no indication as to when you are switching, so it can end up throwing you off. The game also has random speedups and slowdowns mid-song, and this is not uncommon with rhythm games. In fact, they occur in both A Dance of Fire and Ice and Geometry Dash as well. The main difference though is that in this game there is no warning when these occur. This makes it more annoying than it is difficult, and it can really throw you off, especially when you need to perfectly time your button presses for a good score. This is the perfect segue into the game's score-based system. When you mess up in a song, you don't have to start over like in the previous two games, you just get a worse score. The more notes you hit, the better the combo you get, and the better your timing, the higher the score and rank you get. This, along with the online leaderboards, make this game very addictive, but in a different way than the previous two games. Instead of just being motivated by cosmetics and new levels, you are motivated to just get a better score, which is very reminiscent of older arcade games. Because of the abundance of levels, with a variety of difficulty, there's always the right song for you in order to get better. And even if you aren't great, you can still try harder levels, and the only punishment you get is just a crappy score. This makes the game incredibly addicting, as you can try to get good scores on many levels as possible, or just try to get perfect scores on certain levels. It is all up to you. Not only are there tons of songs to choose from, there are different options for each song, with difficulty and speed among others, which allows the player to tailor their gameplay experience to make it more fun for themselves. There's even a DLC which adds tons more songs, with more being added often, giving you tons to do. Even though there aren't really any modes in this game, the gameplay loop is so satisfying and encouraging that it doesn't really matter. This game can keep you hooked with just the sheer amount of songs it has, and its gratifying score system. This game to me is reminiscent of old arcade games and classic rhythm games, so this game is worth it for those who like either of those. This game is just so fun though that I think it's worth a shot for anyone. You get a good amount of songs for the cheap price, and you can buy much more if you really find this game fun. There you have it, 3 pretty varied rhythm games. Even if I criticize some of these games more than others, I think that all of these games are great, and I honestly think that they are worth the buy, especially for the prices. If you aren't sure if you want these games, they are all very cheap, so I think it's worth a shot to buy one that interests you, because even if you don't end up liking it, you don't end up losing a whole lot. Other than that though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.